and welcome back to Everyday Consciousness. My name is Elaine Iwicki, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the benefits of letting go of fear and the ability to just take your own path and see where that leads you. I think it's really important because the laid out path, the path that's in front of us, the finish high school, go to college path especially, has been shown to not work anymore. And I don't think it's just that one. I think it's so many of these things that we think will make us happy, will make us successful, will keep us from being impoverished are not true anymore. And the best option you have is to do what's in your heart to do and find joy in your work, find joy in your life, and that in itself will bring you success. So in the book Reality Transurfing, there is an entire idea based on importance. And basically what it says is it's in your best interest to make every option equally as valid and as good as every other option. So you never make something more special than the others. And this goes for love relationships, for interests, for ideologies, for ideas, for lifestyles, for pendulums, for everything. Everything is as valid as every other thing. So it's easy, right? Because steak in its own way is just as good as fish in its own way, which is just as good as salad. And any of these things are fine for dinner. You don't necessarily have to stop and judge every little thing. It gets harder when you do feel like it's important, right? Like when poverty is much more important to avoid and wealth is much more important to attain. So should you look at each one of these as equally valid? And my short answer is yes. And my long answer is the world doesn't give you what you want, right? The world only gives you who you are being. And the world must match who you are being. And the way this works is every time you walk into a new situation, every time you meet somebody, every time anything happens, you take your entire history, your conditioning, your traumas, your everything, and you put that over what you're seeing, and that is the box you put it in and the lens you put around the box to see every single thing that happens, every new thing. And what ends up happening is no matter where you go, no matter what, you always end up repeating the same mistakes and the same achievements. Everything is always the same until you can let go of the box, to let go of the filter, to truly experience something as new. This is what Joe Dispenza talks about a lot, to have different emotions, to have different thoughts, to experience things in a different way. Reality must match your inner experience, so things will begin to change. This is why manifestation works, right? Like, think better thoughts. Bring yourself into the emotion of what it is you want to be doing or where you want to be, and then reality is going to have to show that to you. You're going to have to combine who you are with the reality, and then there you go. You're matched up, and it's happening. So that's manifestation, and importance. But I think the better place to be, the place you want to be, is the middle ground. So reality is showing you who you really are, your purpose, who you came here to be. So we have contracts, we have a purpose, we have a life path that we decide before we even come here to earth, right? You have certain things that are going to happen, certain people you're going to meet, certain things you're supposed to do. And this is kind of your soul's journey. So this body you have is a tool for your soul's journey. And what you really want, more than some specific thing or more than something to just not happen, is you want the world to match your soul's purpose. And that there is nothing that will feel more right to you. There is nothing that will be more satisfying or more joyful or more abundant than getting a true reflection of your inner beauty, your inner joy, your inner love, your inner everything, all of the best pieces of you as a reflection anytime you go anywhere and with anybody you meet. So we're not doing this. I don't think 99% of people are actually doing this. Maybe you think you're going out as who you are and you just want to change who you are because who you are is not getting you what you want. But I would actually disagree, because what we normally do is try to manipulate and try to control everything. And it's very nuanced, but so like if you take the high school, college thing, right? There is an idea that gets planted in your mind. I don't know from who or where, but we all kind of have it, where if you don't graduate high school and go to college, you're going to be malnourished and dirty and poor and all alone. And you're going to be totally out of energy. Your life is going to be in absolute shambles. And it's just going to be a circle of misery and shame because you didn't do these things. So what we do is we manipulate reality. Okay, so if going to high school and college is going to keep me from experiencing this level of pain, I'm going to do it so I can experience success instead. Except that's not at all what happens, right? So what happens is you're still you. You're always you. You're just now in a lot of debt. And if you think about like any abusive relationship, right? Like say there's an abusive man who's married to a woman. So he will like rage out at her because she didn't do the necessary things she needed to do to keep him calm, right? So by his rage, he is requesting that she use her energy to actually manipulate him into being somebody who is less dangerous. So I think we're always trying to control and manipulate things rather than just allowing everything to be as it is and what it is, and just to see it and to know you can't control things. And not to, you know how people tell you like, oh, you can't control this. Like, as in stop controlling things because you shouldn't. I think the idea is you are incapable of controlling anything. You can never control anything. So stop using your energy in this way and start observing instead. So if you can observe somebody for who they are and what they're doing and just know, okay, this is you. And then observe yourself. Okay, this is me. And then you'll have feelings. The feelings will be magnetic or you'll feel resistance. And then you'll naturally just go somewhere else. And then you'll run into a situation. And if you can trust your body as an instrument for your soul's purpose to live this physical experience, then you'll see a situation. It'll feel right or it'll feel wrong. And you'll know what to do. And if you kind of go through life like this, what ends up happening is you end up exactly where you want to be. So if you think about people who you and them would say have bad lives, right? Like, you know, you would never want to live like them. And they know they also don't like living like them. As you speak to them, what you notice is there's blocks, there's resistance, there's blocks to everything. There are things they don't want to think about, things they don't want to feel. They know this is right and this is wrong, and this should happen and this shouldn't happen. So these blocks that they're experiencing are all designed by the ego and the ego has no natural intelligence. So what happens is they end up living a life that does make them very unhappy. And if you think about very, very successful people, people who are doing what they love, people who enjoy every moment, they're allowing life to just flow through them. They're not blocking everything. They're taking things as they come and doing what they will with it. They're not getting caught up in things that don't feel right. They're not getting caught up in situations that are just, over dramatic and energy sucking. And they just kind of move through life very lightly and easily. So this is the difference between a good life and a bad life, right? So a good life takes things as they are. You trust yourself. You trust what you know. You trust what you feel. And you just kind of go with your intuition. You go with your instincts. And a worse life is you have certain things that are really important and other things that are really important to avoid, and you start to feel very desperate about them, and you make a lot of rules about right and wrong and black and white and up and down, and you stick to them very rigidly, and then you try to manipulate everything so things start working out right, and it's just a lot of energy being spent to get something done, I suppose, versus an allowing of life to happen as it does. So this is what Carl Rogers actually calls the good life. And maybe the other style of being is a less developed personality. If you can agree that life and the world gives you a reflection of who you're being, and it's better to get a full reflection of your soul's journey than your ego mind's misperceptions. And it's better to allow things to happen and respond as they happen in the moment, more than it is to have a preconceived set of ideas that you're rigidly stuck to. How do you get to the place where you can see what you believe, you can see how you're blocked, you can see where you're making mistakes and where you are being rigid and where you are trying to control and where you're trying to manipulate everything? How do you get from what the world teaches you, things are important and there's a right way, to what you really would benefit from, where everything is everything, it's okay, and my natural inclination is to be happy, successful, joyful, engaged, and loving? How do you get there? And how do you remove the blocks that keep you from getting there? I would say there are a bunch of ways. One of the greatest ways is probably shadow work. I know shadow work is huge for trauma. Another way to get there is through letting go, shifting through consciousness levels and trying to get all of your responses, all of your reactions, I would say at a minimum of the level of courage. I would say that groups help, like AA. I'm really involved with my Course in Miracles group. I think therapy could help. High vibrational activities, breath work. So anything that will raise you from the level of fear to go upwards would be the first place I would start, because as you start acting with courage, you see that things are okay. You see that there's nothing to be afraid of. And you can start expanding that from maybe the place you're most likely or that's easiest for you to respond with courage to places where you're a little more uncertain about until you're sure about those. And then it can just go outwards, and you can keep raising your level of consciousness until you're feeling neutral, until you're feeling loving. And it can seriously get to a place where you can witness something that your ego thinks is horrendous and still feel kind of a loving energy towards it. So I would say that the main thing for you to do to break out of this confused, how do I manage? How do I find what I'm supposed to find? How do I do this? How do I make things work? To focusing all of that energy inward and unblocking all of your resistance to life so the world can start showing you who you really are. And there will be nothing more satisfying. There will be nothing that makes you happier. There will be nothing that makes you more joyful than seeing a true reflection of yourself every time you go out. So this is my message for the day. I hope this was inspiring. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.